Now that the prime of Didier Drogba is a good 7-8 years behind us, people have started to have slightly skewed memories about him. Do you know how I know that? Because tweets like this have become a regular occurrence. But that's one side. On the other hand, we've got the pro Didier Drogba brigade, the Chelsea fans, who think that Drogba is the greatest striker to have ever played in the Premier League. So, welcome to UW Football, and today we will be talking about just how good was Didier Drogba. We are going to start off way back when Didier Drogba was still a teenager and he was on the books of a semi-professional club called Levallois. At Levallois' youth setup, Drogba was a prolific goal scorer, so when he turned 18, he was called up to the senior side. But things did not go to plan for him. The senior team coach was not a fan of Drogba, so then 18-year-old Didier Drogba decided to move over to Le Mans, not only to pursue a footballing career but also to get a degree in accounting just in case if this footballing dream does not work out. It took Drogba 6 years to hit double figures in a league season, a feat that he had failed in both the second and third tier of French football, but somehow someway managed it in his debut Ligue season. On back of that stellar season, French giants Olympique Marseille decided to give him a chance at the very top, and Drogba delivered. He scored 32 times in 55 games, and it seemed like every time the competition got tougher, Drogba got better. He netted 11 times in his debut European campaign and upped his previous season tally as he scored 19 in the domestic league. So that's when Jose Mourinho came calling. Chelsea paid £24 million for the Ivorian, and Marseille had seen a £21 million profit within a year on their £3 million worth of investment. Drogba's first tenure at Chelsea lasted 8 years. He scored 96 Premier League goals, highest goal return for any African. He scored 37 in the Champions League and in total scored 164 goals for Chelsea, which makes him their fourth highest goal scorer in their history. He also won 3 Premier Leagues, a Champions League, and numerous domestic cups. On paper, this makes him look like one of the greatest strikers to have ever played. But if you take a deeper look, you'd see that his goal return of 10, 12, 20, 8, 5, 29, 11, and 5 isn't all that impressive. In contrast, someone like Harry Kane has scored 136 Premier League goals in his last 6 years, or Sergio Aguero, who has scored 180 Premier League goals in his 8 years with Manchester City, which is nearly twice as much as what Didier Drogba had achieved. And if you go slightly back in time, you've got Thierry Henry, who scored 174 goals for Arsenal also in that same time period of 8 years. And then you've got your Rooneys, your Shearers, your Andy Coles. All of these players completely dwarf Didier Drogba's goal return. So Drogba clearly was not as good of a goal scorer as these guys, but still, in my opinion, he stands right next to them. He may not have the volume of goals, but he definitely was the player you turned to when you needed a goal the most. You remember when I said that he had won numerous domestic cups? Well, the tally was actually 8, and you know who scored in the final of pretty much every one of them? Yes, Didier Drogba. In 9 finals that he played, he scored 9 goals, and the only one that he lost, a League Cup final against Tottenham Hotspur in 2008, he scored in that one as well. Now let's talk about the Champions League final. Well, he got sent off, John Terry cried, and Chelsea lost. Or you thought I was talking about the 2012 Champions League final, in which Didier Drogba scored an 88-minute equalizer and put away the winning penalty. Well, yeah, he did that as well, so yes, you're right. He may have made a mistake, but he did redeem himself. Now let's look at a slightly less prolific goal record. The teams that he was most successful against include Arsenal, against whom he's got 17 goal involvements in just 12 games. The second team he was most successful against was Liverpool, against whom he scored 18 goal involvements in just 25 games. And now you also need to remember that most of these games were in the latter round of the UEFA Champions League. He also had a very good goal returns against both Manchester United 10 in 15 and against Tottenham 13 in 17. Performances against your biggest rivals and goals in finals is what makes Didier Drogba an icon at Chelsea. He may not be as prolific as Harry Kane, as Mohamed Salah, as Alan Shearer or as Andy Cole, but he definitely delivered when it mattered the most. Post-Chelsea, Drogba has stints at Shanghai Shenhua, Galatasaray, another one at Chelsea, Montreal Impact and Phoenix Rising. He won 6 more titles in his latter years, including yet another Premier League title with Chelsea, even though this time around he wasn't as prominent as in his previous years. So yeah, this was a video on how good was Didier Drogba. Like and subscribe and I will see you soon.